Happy January, everybody, and welcome back to Bullet Points, which is now officially labeled and categorized as a podcast on YouTube. Going to be working on getting this maybe on some other platforms in the future for additional exposure. I know we're a little late in the month, especially given that December's Bullet Points was at the very beginning of December, but we've had a lot going on, and there's so much else coming. There's so many videos that are now stacking up, but because Iowa and Nebraska, Aaron, you've been in a deep freeze. Things have just been piling up. But spoiler alert, no excuses.
I have a question for you.
What?
Did you know that you can cyberbully somebody out of existence?
Heritage Gun Company. We'll get into that in a minute. Also, we've got some real good feel-good stuff. Something that just really impressed us, and it's nothing new, but it's just come to the forefront in the gun community again because there was a post on X that just went viral. Let's get that intro rolling and we'll get on with this show. So Aaron, before I let you take over, and I'm going to be trying to step back this episode and have Aaron run the show. It's been a long week, and day of recording, it's only Tuesday. Today and yesterday were the first days that it was above freezing here in Iowa, and that's not uncommon for winter in the Midwest, but we were negative 20 a couple weeks ago when I filmed. Actually, I guess it was just last week, that Prowl field test. It was 20 below zero when I was outside.
Air temperatures too, not wind chills. Air temperatures.
And Rex is the only person so far to have picked up on my little snark, like self-deprecating humor in that video. I comment that as I'm in that park, I turn around and there's that family walking down the street, and I just call out, "What the heck are people doing outside in this weather, just taking a nighttime stroll? Iowans are crazy," as I'm literally just outside with headgear on.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably look like the nutter. Like, oh, look at these weirdos, as you have got a whole set of headgear walking around looking like a nerd.
Meanwhile, they're over on the sidewalk, if they could even see me, because, again, it was dark. But if they could see me, honey, just keep on walking. Sam, grab Mary Lou. Just keep on walking. Don't look at him.
That's when they move to the other side of the street.
I will say we got enough positive response and asks. Gonna do a live fire. Llama Ranch. Obviously, it needs to be Llama Ranch. We don't have any nighttime ranges. Or at least the dirt road needs to get cleared to get out there. That's the only excuse. And you're gonna hear me say no excuse or excuse a lot in this episode, and we'll get to that eventually. But Aaron, how are you doing? I'm talking too much. This is me being tired.
I'm good. I am thawing as well from the deep freeze we had in Nebraska that I think a lot of the Midwest really was unfortunately exposed to. But things are starting to melt a little bit. The roads are slushy for the most part, but less dangerous. People are getting back to driving like idiots, so it's nice to see some normalcy returning. Other than that, though, I mean, we're kind of in this season of the year where somebody in my family is always sick, whether it's me, my little girl, or Mrs. Boracle. We've kind of just been taking turns with being sick. Babe Oracle had a really, really rough night last week. I think you and I talked about it. I pulled an all-nighter staying up with her because she just did not want to sleep. We had a great time, but I did not get any sleep that night because I stayed up with my little girl till 7 a.m. But I wouldn't have traded it for the world.
Oh, barf.
I can say I spent way too much time on X in the last, 3 or 4 days, going down the rabbit hole of some of the comment sections on some of the crap that we've been seeing. I do want to talk about the Twitter handle @GunHeritage, which, if you look up that Twitter handle, it has been reassigned because somebody let their rights to it lapse after an incident that occurred on X, in which there was a video that was posted by, I think it's Mr. Leadslinger, of a young man with a firearm that I believe had a switch on it that allowed it to fire in a manner that is not so semi-automatic. I think you said something along the lines of this young man found a new form of propulsion.
That's what it's titled. Teen discovers new form of propulsion.
Mr. Leadslinger posts this video of this young man shooting this fully automatic weapon. And one of the comments that appears below it from @GunHeritage, at least the person who used to have that handle, indicated that it was a illegal firearm, and immediately after stating that, tagged @ATF HQ. I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, we're talking about Heritage Gun Company, not Heritage Arms.
Correct.
Heritage Gun Company
not
is
the
a
company
small gun shop in Florida.
Yep, it's not the company that makes the Heritage revolvers, and that's what the manufacturer is, in my mind, most well known for, is their revolvers. This is not them. So
this is Heritage Gun Company, which is a merchant. It's a small gun store in Florida. I know that Heritage Arms has gotten some flack just because of the name association with this Twitter handle. Yeah, which is unfortunate that they've had to like defend themselves against the situation on Twitter, which it's something they were entirely unrelated to. But talk about throwing somebody under the bus. Like, regardless of what your thoughts are on it, like, that was the ultimate Blue Falcon moment, I think, for alleged Second Amendment advocating gun merchant when it comes to seeing other people using firearms. The Twitter account was bullied so hard by the entire internet on X relentlessly that they actually either, I don't know if they deleted their account or if they just
deleted their
changed
account.
The handle. I think they deleted their account. We're not going to dox the name of the new Twitter handle that Heritage Gun Company has adopted,
but you can easily find it if you really want to find it. Here's something that I just want to call out. Mr. Leadslinger, when he posted this video, he didn't link this kid or however he got this. This person's completely random, completely unknown. And looking at this objectively, the piece that has been introduced to the firearm for any average American to have it is highly illegal. But given the fact that there's no context here, we don't know this situation. For all we know, he's being supervised shooting it into the ground by a gun owner that has the SOT7 and is licensed to make these firearms. We don't know. He was posting it showing, don't be stupid with a firearm.
I kind of took it as, if you've ever seen the Twitter account CCTV Idiots, that and all the content that they put out on there, that was kind of the vibe I got. Was like, wow, like, look at this situation, isn't that nuts? He wasn't trying to throw anyone under the bus. He wasn't making any opinions about, the equipment that he was using or anything. It was simply just, here's a crazy clip and you all can react to it. And then somebody decided to narc.
You know what my initial thought was, other than, dude, I know I'm not the strongest person, but this kid needs to go lift some weights. Other than that, do you want to know what my initial thought was? Man, why does this guy get all the cool toys? Like,
just fill out the proper paperwork and you're fine, man.
If the channel ever becomes like Brandon Herrera size, which it won't, but if it does, we are going to get our FFL SOT, and we will be licensed to make automatic weapons. I should have mentioned this before, but if you haven't seen the clip, the X post, the X-Splain, formerly known as a tweet, if you haven't seen that clip, I will have a link down in the description to Mr. Leadslinger's post on X, formerly known as Twitter, there, just for you, Aaron.
All right, so I've been tasked with coming up with yet another Ricochet round question.
You cheated.
Matt thinks that I cheated by having a tangentially related question, which I thought was very thought-provoking. But Matt holds a grudge, so I've come up with another not tangentially related Ricochet round question. And I want to talk about what you think the least practical home defense gun or ammunition type is.
I like it. I'm sure we could potentially get some hate down in the comments here, or people that don't think we know anything. First off, the most impractical home defense weapon would probably be a minigun, to go back to your the gun that you would like to have the most if like legality's barred. You just demolish the first level of your house and it just collapses down and just got him.
Honey, you just laid waste to every wall in the house. Sorry.
That said, the minigun is chambered in 308, and I would personally say that any 30 caliber rifle round is going to be the most impractical because of just that, as we've seen with like our ballistic tests, that's got a lot of punching power. I can't see myself defending my home with an AR-10 or anything built like a SCAR or something. It's like, I personally am immediately reaching for my handgun, and if that's not enough, I'm fighting my way to either my rifle or my shotgun, which is going to be loaded with double-aught buck.
Kind of happy that you stuck to a more generic traditional ammo type. Have you heard of the 950 JDJ round?
The heck are you talking about? You made that up, boy. 950 JDJ?
Yes, it is a 3,600 grain bullet that travels about 2,200 feet per second and is fired out of a single shot rifle.
It's a 20 millimeter.
SKS makes one. They stopped making it in 2014. I think they only made like 5 of them or something. It's SSK. My bad, not SKS. The gun itself weighs about 100 pounds and is about 5 feet long.
Scott from Kentucky Ballistics, we found a gun that you need to get on your channel.
I thought that'd be a fun round.
You didn't cheat this time. That was not tangentially related. That was just related. Bizarre
and
choice
insane.
of a caliber. I expected you to say something more traditional, like using a slug. All right, Aaron, what do you got?
Our next bit is something else that we saw on X, and I think I actually sent this to you originally, and then you pirated my idea and posted it yourself, but that's okay.
I had seen it before you sent it to me. You had just reminded me of it. It was actually a different video that you sent me that I had seen like the day before.
This tweet that I saw was from an individual who was born with a condition that I'm not entirely familiar with, but essentially this gentleman is born without hands. His Twitter handle is NoHandedShooter, and his name is Hunter. He's a pretty young guy, and he is a beast with firearms. He has competed in countless 3-gun competitions and doesn't just perform adequately, he just blows everyone out of the water.
And I've got links to Hunter's YouTube channel down below, as well as a link to his X account. If you want to check him out, follow him. Highly recommend it.
When you don't have hands, you have to essentially make prosthetics for yourself in order to do certain things. And that's exactly what Hunter did in order to succeed at shooting guns. Is he made these molds and stuff that he would attach to the guns to allow him to perform and succeed at these 3-gun competitions. And it's incredible. And you and I were talking about the deep freeze that we were in over the last couple weeks. He posted a video on X of him out shooting somewhere. And the caption, I don't mean this to be funny, but
it's what he says.
-10 degrees, -10 fingers. He's shooting in -10-degree weather. And
dominating.
He's not making any excuses for why he is not out there practicing, improving, bettering himself, even though he is without hands. Like, I was so inspired by that video. I sent it to you. I think we both kind of just had a moment.
At the end of the video, he just looks at the camera and says, "No excuses." And that's where it just hits you so hard. No excuses really pushed me to evaluate. Like this year, 2024, and I think I said this back in December, and I'm not sure, Aaron, you know this, but 2024 is going to be the year that I do some proper tactical training, whether it's from you as an enthusiast, a novice, what have you. I'm being polite. You're a badass yourself. Or going to a professional trainer, because I know a couple in my area that actually offer tactical running gun courses, which I'm very fortunate to be near. But 2024 is not only going to be the year that I get some proper tactical training, I've also said it as the year that this is the year that by the summer I am going to be fit. Now, I'm not saying anything specific, because whenever I set like a weight goal, that always leaves me demotivated, especially when you plateau. And I plateau. I have been stuck at the same weight now for a good 3-4 months. I've lost inches in my waist, but more importantly, I have put on lean weight. But the day after I saw this video, I was already going to be going to the gym, but I said, you know what? I'm going to push myself this time on my run, because one of the goals by end of year is to be able to do 2 miles in 16, maybe 17 minutes. For a person that's 37, that is overweight, that's not a runner as far as body composition, that's a big ask. And I just posted on X a picture of the treadmill from that day. For a person that could not run just 1 mile in 13 minutes very easily, that would start having serious asthma flare-ups. I just did 2 miles straight through in under 19 and a half minutes. I have been shaving seconds off every time I do one of my push runs. I ran till I thought I was going to be sick the other day. Afterwards, it felt amazing. Once I, recovered, replenished the fluids, got some protein in me afterwards.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm going to hit 17 minutes, man. That is a very fast 2 miles. But there's no excuses why I'm not trying. So even if I can't do something like physically go to the range because of time constraints or extenuating circumstances, I have so many things that I can work on to achieve my overarching goal of fitness and tactically sound. Because a lot of people don't realize, yeah, you can be a good shot and you can go from station to station, like those, like the train stations, the windows, and shoot really well. But as Brandon Herrera says, if you can't run up a flight of stairs, you're doomed. So I'm working on all this stuff in 2024, and this guy Hunter, if you see any of this at some point, you are an absolute inspiration to so many people.
You were talking about how you are not giving yourself any opportunity to make excuses for why you're not at the range, or why you're not performing the way you want to be performing in your physical regimen. I'm not going to lie, this morning I had every intention of going to the gym, and I didn't get around to it. Something happened with subconscious me shutting off my alarm without me realizing I did and not setting another one. That's on me. I have felt guilty all day for not going to the gym. So I'm not going to make excuses for my subconscious self. He's clearly an idiot.
But we still love that idiot.
I'm trying to hit my 4 to 5 days a week at the gym because it does feel good. It's hard to get up early in the mornings, but I can't make any excuses for myself either. So thank you to Hunter, the no-handed shooter, for your inspiration. Keep doing what you're doing. Not that my validation matters, but know that we see you and you've made a mark on both of us. So Thank you for that.
And Hunter, again, snowball's chance in hell. If you ever find yourself in Iowa, clearly you live somewhere that got bitter cold here, so you can't be terribly far from us. But if you ever find yourself in Iowa, hit us up. Love to do a range day with you.
And without further ado, we're going to get into our last shot for the day. And we're kind of going to get away from the day-to-day of, using guns, training with guns. And we're going to kind of go into the background of all this and kind of get back to our Second Amendment roots here for a minute. I want to touch on the civic duty that we have when it comes to participating in elections. And I don't just mean the general election that we have every 4 years for the President of the United States. There is a lot more to your civic duty to vote than just that. In your cities, counties, whatever, participate in those. Participate in your elections for your state senators. Participate in your elections for judges as they are retiring and needing to be replaced. Participate in your state elections for the primary, for the general election. You have a civic duty to vote and participate. And I can understand there were some difficulties with the Iowa caucus with just weather, with people not being able to leave their house because they were physically snowed in.
It was a very low turnout.
Please take full advantage of that responsibility that you have.
Absolutely. And to continue from that, we as a people are really good at bitching and moaning and complaining about anything that we can't stand, especially when it comes to politics or policies, local, state, federal, what have you. Especially these days, we are more divided than ever. Well, we have the ability to change that. If you do not vote, I am a firm believer that you really don't have a right to complain. Most people that are watching this channel are of legal age to vote. So go vote or quit your bitching.
I like your succinctness.
Well, thank you again for these wonderful words of wisdom beyond your young years, Aaron. If you have ideas for future topics for our Bullet Points podcast, please let us know down below. If you have questions that you want us to answer, we could do a Ask the Audience sometime. Yeah. Just want to let you know that we are here to interact with you all too. But again, thank you so much for the support we have been receiving on the channel, as well as the improvement in some of the statistics on some of our bullet point stuff. And as we're trying to get this onto other platforms, maybe that'll get some additional exposure. But thank you all for tuning in for this episode of Bullet Points. And we look forward to the weeks and months ahead for content, and especially next month's bullet points, whatever we decide to talk about. I'm sure we'll figure that out 2 days before we film. That's going to do it for this installment of Bullet Points, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the Phantom Llama's Den if you haven't already. Go check us out on X, Instagram, and Twitch. We get really rowdy over there. As always,
don't take life too seriously, and make it a great day.
I was supposed to do one of those.